Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I'm going to do the mid-year freakout tag. I was tagged in a video by Cliff at Cliff's Dark Gems, so thank you, Cliff. I went back to the video I did for this last year, and I'm going to use the prompts that I used for that video. I believe they include all the ones Cliff used, but there's a few more in there as well. So I'll just say what I said about the prompts in the tag at that time. In this video I do the mid-year freakout tag. I decided to do this tag after watching a video by Tia at Tia Chu. I later saw a video by Pat at Booktuber with Pat 8668 where she tagged me in the comments. I'm going to repeat what Tia and Pat said to properly credit the creators of this tag. Per Tia at Tia Chu. Mid-year reading check-in book tag, book recommendations, book tag questions. Created by at Is That Chami and at Earl Grey Books. And per Pat, a book chat with Pat 8668, the mid-year freakout was created by Chami, or Is That Chami, a booktuber who no longer has a channel. And Tia and Pat had slightly different prompts, so I merged them. And Tia has some extra prompts from Katie Whitrook, so I did those too. There's a total of 20 prompts. There was 16 prompts in my original merge version and 4 more from Katie Whitrock that Tia had. The first prompt is Best Book You've Read So Far in 2025. It's The Will of the Many by James Islington. It's just a very impressive book. I'm looking forward to the sequel. And it's impressive despite the fact it's 600 pages. It does not feel like a long book. Second prompt is Best Sequel You've Read So Far in 2025. I didn't read any book specifically just in 2025, but I read part of Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros in 2024 and part in 2025. So that's going to be my best book. It's really the only one I read a significant portion in 2025. 4.5 stars. I also completed Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas in 2025, but I completed it on January 2nd, so not much of it was read in 2025. So really, even if I didn't like Iron Flame, it would still be my best sequel because it's really the only one I read significantly part of in 2025. The third prompt is New Releases You Haven't Read Yet But Want To. I'm only going to mention 2025 releases for this one. I'm not great at knowing what's coming despite the fact that I watch many booktubers who do provide that information. There is a few though. I want to read Sunrise and the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which I do have a copy of. I want to read Never Flinch by Stephen King, however I do have to read several books before that, so I'm looking forward to that book, but I don't know that I'll read it in 2025 because I'm sure I won't read all the books leading up to it. Want to read Problematic Summer Romance by Ellie Hazelwood. However, I do have, I believe, 4 Ellie Hazelwood books that I've yet to read. I have not read except a little bit of one of the books from her. I liked it, but I just put it aside. So I think, not that I always do the greatest thing on disciplined buying, but I think it would be better to read those books before I got a new Ellie Hazelwood book. I want to read Remarkably Bright Preachers, Barnes & Noble exclusive edition by Shelby Van Pelt. I'm cheating a little bit here. This book came out, I think, in 2022, but there's a special edition that came out in 2025. This is a much praised book. Bunch of people that I really respect their views highly praise this book. I want to read Atmosphere, a Love Story by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This might be a little stretch because I'm currently about a third of the way through The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and maybe too soon to make a judgment that I want to read another book of hers, but I'm loving the book so far, so that's why I'm including that book on this list. And I haven't read it. I didn't read any Taylor Jenkins Reid before The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's my first. Biggest disappointment of 2025, the book is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. perhaps for unfair reasons. The book was written in the 1930s, and I'm judging it by my 2025 standards, which is unfair, but I really can't help doing that. So, and it's, in a way, it's hard to say it was disappointing because it was a book club read. It was not one I chose, but I think it's my most disappointing book so far this year. Biggest surprise of 2025. That's My Life as a White Trash Zombie by Dana Rowland. Perhaps a little soon to say this because I read it not long ago, but the title and the cover promise something, and the book provides that, but it's so much more than that too. Expected to see a kind of amusing, kind of gory zombie book, and it is that, but it's got a lot more depth than just that also. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this book has a lot of depth. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? I'm going to say Abby Jimenez. The first book I read from her was Say You Remember Me. She's hardly a new author in the sense that I've never heard of her. She's highly praised. But this is the first book of hers I've read, and it did not disappoint. Newest fictional crush. I always struggle with this one. I don't know as I really have them. There's also the other issue that the books I read, I'm considerably older than the characters. So I try to get a character that's not super young and figure like I can age myself down some. Fair amount actually. But the character I'm picking is Mouse in The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. She is at 30-something, so still considerably younger than me, but it's not like she's super young. And in the two T. Kingfisher books I read, she really writes relatable characters. They seem very real to me. And the 9th prompt is new favorite character. I'm going to give 2 for this one. The first is Bongo in T. Kingfisher. He's a coonhound, and he's a great character, but some people may not like me using a pet as a favorite character, so I'm going to name a person too. And that person is Angel in My Life as a White Trash Zombie. It's going to sound funny that a zombie is a favorite character, but she's just a messy but interesting, appealing character who tries to get her life back together as a zombie. The 10th prompt is a book that made you cry. Don't think any book made me cry, but in Boy's Life by Robert McCammon, there was some deaths that were really upsetting. I won't say what they are because that might be spoilers, but there were some deaths that were upsetting. The 11th prompt is a book that made you happy. That book is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. It's just a romance that I really enjoyed. The 12th prompt is favorite book to movie adaptation. I haven't seen a movie this year, so I don't have any answer to this one. The 13th prompt is favorite video this year. I was just not going to do this. I was not going to answer it because either I got to give a bunch of them or I can't give any. Then I decided there were 2 that are really favorites of mine. I have to give 2 because they're 2 of a series. And those 2 videos are My Favorite Bands Ever Part 1 / and My Favorite Bands Ever Part 2/2. These are videos by Nicole, and Nicole's book is Schnook, and she largely did these videos in response to some comments I had, which I really appreciate. I think mainly the videos were done for me, and they are each over an hour, so it's quite the feat that Nicole did them. And even though I'm a fair amount older than Nicole, we have a fair amount of overlap in our musical tastes. So hearing her talk about some of these bands generated a lot of memories for me. And because of these 2 videos and another Nicole did, I decided to revive my music experiences videos. I did one already for the first time in months, and I got another coming. The 14th prompt is the most beautiful book you've bought this year or received. That is Firebird by Juliet Cross. It is a book that I bought at bookshop.org. And even though I've generally said I don't cover buy, this book was in fact largely a cover buy. I just saw it in emails from bookshop.org. So I would say this book is the most beautiful book that I bought this year. The 15th prompt is what book do you need to read before the end of the year? It's not a book that I need to read, but it's a book I want to start. And that book is The Tunisian Crochet Handbook, A Beginner's Guide by Tony Lipsy. And the reason I would like to start this book by the end of the year is that would mean that I have completed to my satisfaction all the patterns in Everyday Crochet, The Complete Beginners by June Gilbank. So I need to complete these before all the patterns in this book to my satisfaction before I start this book. But if I'm able to, that means I did so, and that would be good. Not sure if I would complete this book. From what I understand, this is quite a different type of crocheting. The description said that it is kind of similar to knitting. The 16th prompt is tag others. I'm going to wait till I answer the next 4 questions that were unique to Tia's video. These are at Katie Whitrick's questions. These are the ones that Tia did, and I'm doing them too. The first is what books you want to reread this year. I may reread Queen of the Dam by Anne Rice. The reason I say may is I read it a couple years ago. And I am going to read reread The Tale of the Body Thief by Anne Rice. Reason for these 2 books is I recently took part in a YouTube Live. I'll talk about that more in my weekly wrap-up. It was hosted by Elaine at Cobalt Dragon, and it was to talk about the first 2 books in the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice, Interview with the Vampire and the Vampire Lestat. Really enjoyed it, so decided that I'm going to continue with this group. There's other contributors to this, and when I do my weekly wrap-up, I'll mention everyone that's involved in it. So that's why I decided that those 2 books one book, a possibility, one I do plan to do, will be rereads. The only other rereads, which I wouldn't know yet if I'm going to do them, are rereads for book clubs. And I don't know if there's going to be any of those. One thing that might be confusing is I'm using the same numbers Tia used. So there's actually only 4 of these prompts, but the numbers I used were the ones that were in her video. The 5th prompt is series you want to finish before the end of the year. I like to finish Onyx Storm, which would make me current on the 4th Wing series. I'd like to finish Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands by Heather Fawcett, and read Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. That would complete the Emily Wilde series for me. In both cases, there's no problem with my reading so far. I just had to put them aside to other requirements. I put the priority on the book clubs. The 7th prompt is, do you think you'll reach your reading goal? Are you going to change it? My most important goal is 75 books for the year, and I'm considerably behind schedule. I've read 21 so far, and Storygraph indicates that's 14 behind where I should be. There's still a fair amount of year left, though, so I'm somewhat confident I can do it. If I don't, however, I might drop my goal to something like 50 or 52 or something like that. Give me something easily achievable. I'm not going to stress over achieving the goal, but hopefully maybe I can achieve the goal this year. The 8th prompt is any new goals for the rest of the year. I really should commit to reading down my physical TBR and not buying new books except as necessary for book clubs and things of that nature. But When I've tried to do that, I go a month or two doing great and then I crash and it's kind of all over. One thing I need to do is find a better balance in the Booktube videos I watch and the books I read. I don't know if I can continue to watch as many Booktube videos as I am. However, I do want to, best I can, support certain people, those I interact with. I just have to come up with a better approach to do it, except that I'm not going to be able to watch quite as much as I do, but also try to at least regularly watch some videos from all the people I want to. Another thing I want to do is I want to try to comment on every video I watch. I'm commenting on most of them, but I still don't comment on all of them. And I think I have to accept that in some cases I may just have a platitude, such as good video, but if that's what I have, I'll do that. Also, I have to accept that I might not get a reply depending on how big the Booktuber is. I also want to contribute to Discord and Voxer groups I'm part of. Being a shy introvert, I sometimes don't do that as much as I should, but I want to do so. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week. I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.